found the solution to your problems. Don't use Adobe products.
Remove Adobe from your computer now.
I think, James, that was live. That was our first comment live.
It's like...
Anyone else watching the stream? Do we have anybody in chat?
We have John on right now.
John, can John give us a confirmation?
He says yes.
He says yes? All right. We're live.
It's like when you have to search help for troubleshooting information. By that point, it's already... like, I've never found a solution by clicking check for a solution.
I have, but it's been few and far between.
My goal of this podcast is to not play with my ear and get drunk and play with my ear. I watch the last video, and I just have my finger, just constantly playing with my deaf ear.
You're still going to get drunk, but you're not going to play with your ear when you do it.
Baby steps, one thing at a time.
Don't you think the...
I've lost the Enterprise.
Don't say...
I saw it a while ago, but I don't know where.
It's not behind my butt, I don't think.
I
don't see it behind my butt.
I don't think you're going to have such an easy time controlling what happens when you get drunk.
I see
I got
that.
this. It's not the Enterprise, but okay.
It's manning the.
Manning some
all right,
station.
we have the Enterprise. We can get going.
He is rocking some beer.
I am
rocking a box drink.
Box wine.
Box wine.
Just
Classy.
come out and say what you got there. Mine is a Belgian ale. Tapestries, Rockford, number 6. 15 proof.
It's like Chanel number 5, I suppose.
And I got it all over my MacBook Air. Oh, my Mac's gonna smell like beer. The smell of Belgium.
I hope Belgium.
All right, we better get this going. Are you ready, Dylan?
I guess so. Yeah.
We have an ad to do for Code Stop.
Ah, yes.
Are you ready? I have an idea this time, though. I'm better prepared.
What's
than
the
you.
idea? So I have some preparation.
No, that's no fun.
Yes, but that's not going to... I know you think this is going to work, but I don't think it's going to...
When we have other clients, we'll prepare.
Okay.
And she left.
Not telling me the idea may not actually... Well,
all right.
We only need 2 people to do the ad. 3 people, it just gets
okay.
out of hand.
You ready?
All right.
Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Mike.
Do you like money, Dylan?
Yes, I like money, I guess.
Do you think it's better to make money or just find money?
Make money or find money? I guess ultimately it's more satisfying to make it than to simply find it, although it is easier to simply find it. This is too deep a philosophical question for a podcast. Just assume I gave you whatever answer you were looking for.
Well, Dylan, I'm glad you said that I like to make money more than I like to find money.
That's what I said. Unless I didn't. I don't know. Whatever.
So, I was checking out Code Stock, and I saw they have a bunch of sessions, and they're in green.
Really?
And I was like, what do the green sessions mean?
It means someone put style, color, number 00FF00.
Why would they do that?
I don't know.
And is that truly green?
I think so. RGB. So
would it be 00FF00?
I thought that was what I said.
Oh, I thought you said FF00FF.
No.
Well then.
That would be like purple.
I found out that the green
mean?
sessions are all about making money. Like the session from one speaker here is the Going Independent Workshop. I guess you go independent and you make money.
In theory.
Tips and tricks for consulting. My personal favorite, building a fundable business model. You ever built any business models?
I don't think so.
Oh, come on. We've built like 3 at Funkworks.
They were not fundable.
They were not
profitable.
fundable. Nor were they profitable. None of them. So I think we should go to that one. I think we should tune in and figure out where we screwed up, and let's make a fundable business model.
I think at this point we should just like roll dice, and that would increase our
a saving throw.
Yeah, like this one will be fundable, sure, or whatever.
Hey everyone, if you want to go check out some entrepreneurial sessions at Codestock, check out codestock.org, and Codestock is in a few weeks, June 3rd and 4th. That was kind of rough.
Yeah.
Maybe we should prepare.
Remember when I said to give me an idea of what you were thinking of doing?
All right, let me kick off the show. Welcome everyone to the show. Please come inside, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
All right. Music anecdotes over there in the corner from the box wine.
Me alone.
From the box wine. Tonight it is myself, Michael Neal.
Hobos.
On the box wine front is Cicely.
Hola.
On the sober front, as always, is Dylan.
Hi.
Not partaking of this.
He is our designated reader.
And of unknown alcoholic status, coming from across the pond in England, is James Johnston. Hello, James.
Good evening.
You are more widely known, I think, as Mad Ninja Skills.
I am indeed.
Is there any other aliases people would know you as?
No.
No, that runs the gamut.
Oh, so you do like me, and you have one across every board in existence.
Yeah.
So, I think Hamster, ezmuze, I think I mispronounced that a bunch, and I think you called me out on that at one time in chat.
He can more conveniently
ezmuze is probably your most successful. Is it your most successful on the indie games?
Yeah, by quite a margin.
And I've been told that you will not shut up if we ask you about how you actually managed to get data off the Xbox onto a website.
It's champion. It's a fantastic system. It's so ghetto. It shouldn't ever work.
Duct tape?
I've speculated. I've speculated on it before that it was basically a modem thing, and I think that's pretty close to the truth. But go ahead and run down for us here.
Because it was made in XNA 3.1, I didn't have the dynamic sound things, so it is an Xbox hooked up to a PC sound card with two different WAV files. One's very loud and one's not quite so loud. And the loud one is a bit 1, and the not quite so loud one is a bit 0. And yeah, it just sends binary data as audio.
So you don't have anything more complicated just than ones or zeros going on. You didn't try for any other frequencies. So what? I think you blogged this before, but what basic data rate are you getting out of that method?
About 16 bits per second.
16 bits per second.
Yeah.
So old school Nokia phones could text faster than this. How long?
Yeah.
How long does it take to copy somebody's song? When they go into ezmuze and they say, go ahead and upload my song, how long does it take for you to get the song off and into a computer for processing?
It takes about a minute to send over the data, but what it does, it actually sends how long the song is, and then actually records ezmuze playing it. So the actual song data, the song sound, is actually just sent as proper audio, and it just records that and MP3s it. It only actually sends the author name and some fundamental details about it using the rubbish system.
So when you go into ezmuze and you send the song to the server, I'm just sending the data of what samples, what link, and that I've done to it, not the actual WAV files or anything like that.
No, they're shared across because it's having to run the same game.
Okay, and then so you recreate it. You figure out the link, you send that, you send the data on the metadata, and then play the song, and it knows how long to play it. And then at that point, I think you literally get lame with it, right?
Yep. Fire it through lame encoder, stick it in an email, post it to the blog.
Well, no less lame than this podcast. Also encoded with the lame encoder. So really good there. And I think that's awesome. I think that's a good way to run around the system. and I saw this in a thread. I don't know if it was a public thread or a private thread. I lurk all over those forums. But you actually have contacted and discussed this with Microsoft, right?
Back when we had a community manager, I did contact her, yes.
Okay, so they kind of said, yeah, this isn't something we're going to shut you down for. This is okay.
They never said it was okay. They just said it wasn't against the rules. They were very careful about that.
That sounds like tacit.
Well, I think what you had said in one of your articles on it was that as long as you weren't sending data back into Xbox, Xbox Live, it was okay.
Yeah, that's when people started getting upset.
Okay.
Now, you have on there a couple different versions. Do they all, because isn't there like a house beat mix or something, and then there's Hamster Edition.
Yeah.
Do they all have the capability to send up to the server, or is it just Hamster Edition?
Just Hamster Edition at the moment.
Just Hamster Edition at the moment. And you just put up another update, I think, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, 1.71 we're on now.
That was the one where people were all ticked off and you had the 3-paragraph rant, correct?
This is the one that fixed that problem.
So, okay, now I'm curious because we download all of the indie games as they come out, and it actually over time degrades the performance of your Xbox console. I guess there's some digital check it does for every piece of digital content. So if you have a 360 that's loaded up with a couple hundred Rock Band tracks, and then you have a couple hundred indies, my marketplace window, or the games I played recently, can take 2.5. You've seen it, Dylan. It can take 2.5, 3 minutes to load. So I go in and I try to purge games that, we don't need this on my Xbox anymore, to try to keep that down because it does help. And I have noticed when I've gone in there, duplicates. Like I'll have 2 copies of the same game on my hard drive, and I was kind of like, oh, wonder what that is. But I've never checked into that.
I always figured it was on my USB stick.
It's occurred. Like sometimes I thought it was like, well, Dylan had a copy on his USB stick, and I had a copy on the hard drive. But I've seen it without you being over, without your USB stick or anything. We've had 2 copies of it, and I guess that is kind of a symptom that the ultimate manifestation of, or the worst case scenario of that, is what James experienced, is that there becomes 2 separate games as far as the Xbox is concerned, and save files from one don't open in the other.
Yeah.
One of my customers actually had 5 different versions of ezmuze. He had 1.0, 1.5, 1.52, and so on, and each of them had its own separate storage.
Did you ever come out to what causes it and how to fix it?
I'm guessing Microsoft isn't a good enough answer.
Yeah, I mean, did anything come forward of, okay, this is how this happens. If you go in and do X, then, if for example, I buy the game, but then Cicely's gold account is online when the update comes, that causes 2 copies of the game to occur.
We've looked at things like that, but it seems to be people that have the problem will have it with quite a lot of things, not just the one. But there was nothing that really we could nail it down.
Okay, so you didn't get a cause narrowed down. And did you get a fix in place? Did you get a way to recover save games?
I probably shouldn't say it on the air, but we showed a few users how to load up some. Okay,
I know what you're talking about there. Yeah. So, no, we probably shouldn't. But you did find a way, but you kind of had to walk them through. You didn't find anything as nice as like look for previous saves under ezmuze 1.7 will recover your data. But in a way, don't you say like how awesome and successful I am, because look how angry people got when it broke.
Oh yeah. If they didn't care about it, obviously, then the game wasn't that good. But they care, so obviously they care about the game.
I haven't gone back since the server came back up. Since what do you call it, Buddy? What was the server?
Barry.
Barry. That's it. The first time I tried it, Barry was down, and I guess Barry's important to get on there. So I'll go on there and mess around, and I don't know. Maybe we'll make a new theme of the podcast, like I was talking about, where I want a harder edge theme or something. Now I do, since I have you on here, and you've seen the statistics. I don't like any game. I don't like even games that aren't games. The thing that I found that I would request, I don't know if you're still actively developing, adding new features, or going in or just trying to move on to something else at this point. When I went in and added a sample, I found myself wanting to add that sample again. But when I go back to the sample menu, like, I'm back at the top, the root. And it would have been cool, I think, if it remembered, okay, well, you were right here at this sample, you know. And also because, like, I was in, like, this certain set of drum loops, and I want 2 of them, and they're right next to each other, or there are a couple within each other. You know, they're in the same column, they're in the same type, and to go back and remember that. But other than that, I've played with it off and on. I haven't handed it to my daughters yet. I kind of wanted to give it to my 11-year-old and see if she got into it at all. And dug on that. But that's all I got. It's really excellent.
Thank you.
Now, you have Insane Bash, too. Which I think is Armless Octopus's favorite game on the service. Do you listen to their podcast?
I do not know.
Ah, okay.
I'm thinking I should probably avoid it after what's been said.
They
love to hate.
They have an award they call Banger of the Week, which I think makes...
I think we discussed
Yeah,
this.
it means more, I think, over in England than it does in the U.S. They kind of have to explain Banger of the Week, I think,
well, it
to
sounded
the U.S.
bad
audience.
to me.
It's definitely not an endearing quality term. And so they go through the new games of the week, and they pick one, and they call it the Banger of the Week. And, of course, Indie Bash came out, and they gave Indie Bash Banger of the Week. And then the following week, they didn't feel any game was worthy of dethroning Indie Bash as Banger of the Week. So it actually won Banger of the Week 3 weeks running.
It's like the cringe innings of...
Yes. It was on there for quite a long time. We got a video of it. We got a video trial of it.
Yeah.
And for it being a simple game and a simple concept, you go back and watch that trial. We had a ton of freaking fun playing that game. Were we all sober?
We were all sober.
Okay.
I don't think we've ever done a trial where we weren't.
No, maybe we haven't. That's something we probably need to start. We probably need to get drunk before we start doing any trials.
I like the sober trials.
Not the good trials. Not the good trials.
The trials of stuff we know is a bunch of crap. Yeah, why not?
So, how long did it take for you to bang out? Was that kind of a...
day and a half.
A day and a half? That was kind of a break game? That was kind of your I made a game with zombies in it, if you will.
Yeah. It was more than anything to see if I could make a game at the same time on the Xbox and Windows Phone 7 and see how it would do.
Oh, so did it go out on Windows Phone 7?
Yep.
How did it do?
I've sold 4 copies. And I'm one of them.
Oh, wow. So you're gonna have a Windows Phone 7 stats section on the Xbox Live Indie Games database?
I am indeed.
And oh, awesome! So I'm kind of interested to see if anybody's having success on that service. I think it's a great phone. I have nothing against the phone itself. I just think they haven't done a good job getting it in the hands of consumers yet. And that may come. That may come. So I don't want to prejudge based on that. But I'm wondering if anybody is having. No, I made a couple $1,000s off this, or I got $10,000 off the phone. Or if it's all just, I'm going to try free. So did you? Is it still for sale, or did you try ad supported at this point?
We actually dual released ad supported and paid at the same time. Ads is doing a little better, but where I've had to use 2 different ad providers, it's actually sold a lot better in Europe. But Microsoft's ad service doesn't actually support anywhere but the US. And I think I may have chosen the wrong ad provider because my current CPM is at a fantastic 0.0002 cents per thousand.
Wow.
That sounds like our Blip TV video recurring revenue.
$5 now.
No,
or something.
we actually have $10.
Holy crap!
Since the year ago that we uploaded our first one, we have now amassed $10 off of Blip TV.
Pulling in those sweet Blip TV bucks.
So I want to back up a little bit and talk about so the website is xbligdb.com, and if you think of Internet Movie Database (IMDb), that is kind of a good starting place for the site. And so right now, I think you have up there the ability to go in as a developer, create an entry, a page for your company, get everybody that's involved with your company attached to you. So I can get, Dylan in there and Cicely in there, and then when I go in, I can create a game, and then attach you guys to the game and the role that you did. I don't actually think you have to be in the company to attach to a game, do you?
Sorry?
You don't have to be actually attached to the publisher to be attached to the game. No. So you can go in there and, basically, it should be like 6 Degrees of Separation and Kevin Bacon, where you take any game or any developer and you see how many steps it takes to link to Kevin MacLeod soundtrack.
1.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
0 or 1,
0 or 1.
will be that. We got Inca blocks in there, and you can upload the stats. I mentioned that a second ago. We uploaded our Inca block stats, so you can see just how bad that did. I'm not making up that it was horrible. And you can see even when it got rating manipulated at the end,
it still
statistically it did nothing. It didn't change it at all. And the calculation was right too, because I went in there and now James, you're not rounding those numbers.
No.
Because we made like 18 decimal places worth of pennies or something. But essentially, I think we've made $72 and some change after the funny way you have to calculate sales. It's not just a straight 30%. You have to do a couple extra things. And I went through and I did all that, and when I uploaded on there, it matched. So I think
it's really
it's pretty cool.
disheartening when you compare us to Fortress Craft, because it looks
No
like a
game
flat
should do
line.
that.
It looks like a flat line.
If you compare Fortress Craft to ezmuze, even, it looks like a flat line.
You compare anything to Fortress Craft.
Oh, well, that
Except for
is...
maybe zombies.
No, even zombies.
Even zombies?
Fortress Craft hit
That
top
sucks.
downloads overall, so there you go.
I hope there is some raising of the whole I hope some of these Fortress Craft people actually are looking at other titles.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, these people are getting Fortress Craft, so after they play it for 5 minutes and go, like, this is not even 10% of Minecraft, they may never come back. Like, it may not be a great first experience.
I did like the trampoline.
They may have fun with the first one, but I wonder if they'll get burnt out as things progress.
Or refuse to pay $3 for the next one.
And to start over, because he's going to have the problem of game, and I don't know... There was some talk of he was going to attempt to work around it, but it's not in a kosher way, so I don't know how that's going to, it's going to play out.
Well, he's actually been talking to me about my awesome audio modem system.
I think that works, ezmuze, because even when you have a lot of sales, like, there's not a lot of people uploading at once. It takes an amount of time to create the music and get it to where you like it to the point where you want to upload it. So I don't know how deep the queue gets, but it's going to be a lot less than 400,000 people wanting to convert their worlds all at once.
Yeah, I mean, that works because of the size of Xbox Live Indie games.
I mean, at that point, you almost have to buy 2 Xboxes and dedicate them to audio modem interfaces.
Well, we've got 2 for ezmuze, and they're constantly busy.
How deep is the queue on it usually when somebody goes to upload a song? Like, how long are they waiting?
Some people can wait over an hour.
Okay, well that's pretty good. That's a pretty good clip coming in. Have you done any experimentation with the DJ Hero controller and thought of integrating that?
Already in 1.5 and above, you can use a DJ Hero controller for live mode or just in the automation.
Can you actually scratch?
You can't scratch, but you can like flip the channels on and off, and
Can you rewind?
you actually it's got a loop sequence. Like you set up loops in it, and you can jump between the loops. So
You can
go
jump between
back
the loops. Can you take the turntable though and play the loop backwards like you were spinning it backwards? Or
No.
I want a $1,700 DJ software package, James, in my $3 download. That's what I'm telling you here.
I'm working on it.
Do you do any DJing, or do you get into any of that kind of stuff, or?
I used to DJ professionally.
Because I mean, it seems like doing ezmuze, you got some of that background. Have you seen what is it, the NX7 by?
I don't know.
I'm currently selling my NS7 because I've upgraded to 2 new Mark V7s.
So you've upgraded. Now,
Yeah.
see, this is the one that has the motorized turntable.
Yeah.
So it's all digital. You're still scratching all digital, but the turntable is motorized, so it feels like a real record.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. That was going to be a follow-up question. As a guy who's done it professionally, what is your thoughts on that? Is it really getting to letting you do digitally what you did analog, and it feels right?
It feels nicer than my Technics 1210 turntables, which are the industry standard.
Yeah.
The torque on them is fantastic. But you get all the power of the digital as well. You can stick a loop on or anything like that. So you get all the freedom of the digital decks, but the perfect feel of the vinyl. It's just heaven. And if you get some drunken loon bash into your turntables, the needle doesn't go everywhere.
Didn't even think of that feature. I have never done anything professionally. I listen to a lot of remix style. Are you familiar with like Girl Talk? It's one you can go get for free. He's kind of an open source, but it's or an open post on my work. Are you familiar with the Grey album? That who did that? Danger Mouse?
That's JC and Beatles, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got that.
So that's the kind of remixing that I like.
Mashups.
The mashup type stuff, and you take it together. So I've always been like, I want to get into this. Like I play guitar, and I was a band geek, so I'm familiar with music, and I want to get into that. But every time I sit down at the computer, I lose interest after a while. I don't like clicking and dragging around. I want to learn to do it live. So there was a month last year, I think, where almost every day that month I went down to our local music shop.
It's close to a month and a half.
And
yes,
they had an NX7 set
that.
up, and I would just go in and like just start playing on the NX7.
And more than one person knew him. Like, it's okay, he's going straight back
To
there.
there. I never bought it because it's like $1,700, and that's not exactly what you should buy if you don't know how to DJ and scratch and mix. Like that shouldn't be your first
It's like
deck.
a new computer. Did you buy that before you bought the new guitar? Like, because that would be in place.
Well, no, I never bought the
No.
NX7. I never
I mean,
actually.
did you look at that before you bought
Yes.
the new
Yes.
guitar? Yeah. So,
Yes.
Like, you couldn't have.
Yeah, I can
Done
tell you
that.
the instant we have a game that goes successful and
You're
we get some
buying
money
one
in
of
it, that's
those.
where that's the first Funkwork expense.
Oh.
Okay, didn't mean to totally derail on that. So anything you want to talk about on the plans for the Xbox Live Indie Games database site? Where are you taking it?
Well, we want to add a lot more features for games in development, sort of build that up, and do things like help wanted or offering services features. We want to put the Windows Phone 7 stuff in, and really just what anyone suggests. It's not really particularly difficult to add any new features. It's just thinking of them.
Now, a feature that has kind of been important that we get up, and it's we almost had it done on GameMarx, but then we had Xbox Indies, and that shifted the meaning of the two sites, and we kind of had to figure out like where should these features go, because some of them don't make sense in both places. And one feature that I've wanted to have up, and I think this might actually make more sense on Xbox Live Indie Games database, is to have a developer press release. So the developers go in and they put out their press releases, and that gets aggregated into one feed. If you're familiar with Games Press,
Yeah.
so most reviewers, most people who cover games in the mainstream media, who don't do this screwing around in their halftime like we do, most professionals basically get all of their news from these sites that aggregate all the press releases. And on like a Games Press, like they will link you to all the high quality trailers, so you can download the QuickTime MOVs and things like that. Games Press requires a login, so that the stuff is not public and their servers aren't getting hit with the high-end QuickTime. But that way, like when you go to Kotaku and you watch the trailer on Kotaku, sometimes you see like a watermark. And they're basically giving them the high-res version that they can watermark, and and here's a bunch of new screenshots and things like that. And it's not that so much that the game journalists are lazy. They're busy. And if there's a service that is covering all the games and putting it into one nice feed for them so that they get everything, then that tends to get more attention than the random email from a developer, than the I got to go and find it type games. And I've wanted to have that for Xbox Indies. I want to have that equivalent, so anybody who is going to cover indie games, like, grab this RSS feed, because it's not Armless Octopus, it's not GameMarx, it's not press sites putting out the press release. It's the developers themselves. You're getting it straight from the source. And I think we might get more mainstream press coverage, because I think there's almost a bias that they don't want to run a story and source GameMarx and source Armless Octopus and source some of the other sites and look like, well, we just copied this fan site and ran their article.
Yeah, and the flip side of that, too, is developers... I don't know if developers contact these larger sites because, it's usually kind of hit or miss whether they'll get...
I do know. I have in our talks with different developers and the things that I've had in chats that I know it seems like the active developers that are making real stabs, like it seems 50% or so are going out and trying to contact review sites, but very few are getting any kind of traction.
Yeah, and it usually happens like there's one we talked about a couple of weeks ago on that hit Kotaku, but it was for some completely different reason. Like it was for some...
It was Sequence. We talked about Sequence on Giant Bomb.
Sequence hit Giant Bomb, but there was something else...
Something else hit Kotaku.
I can't remember, but it was over a possible issue with Red Ring of Death.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because it was, it's going to make Microsoft mad.
Well, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Kotaku's a pretty shitty site overall, and they are more interested in covering the drama than the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, drama sells, and there's a lot of games
Gawker
on the
Media
service.
thinks drama sells.
Unless it's their own drama.
Yes. Oh, if Kotaku can link to Gizmodo, that links to Engadget, I mean, that's... and then links to Jezebel. I mean, they must... That's orgasm.
Moment.
That's an orgasm over at the Gawker Media headquarters.
Combo!
Giant Bomb's getting bad
It's
about
almost.
that. Yeah. Giant Bomb's getting bad about that self-linking bullshit, too. I hate that. I hate when I go
How
read
does
an
it
article.
work? Like, because Giant Bomb... Let's see, Giant Bomb and... Is it Anime Vice and Comic Vine and Tested? Like, these sites don't sound like they would have anything to do with each other.
No, I think they're all... they all got together and...
Well, no. I mean, like, what topic would hit all five of them?
No. Giant Bomb linking to Giant Bomb is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So, like, when somebody talks about Sequence, they don't link to Sequence's website. They don't link to Sequence on the marketplace.
Okay, I see what
They
you're
link
saying.
to their database page for Sequence that has no information on it.
I thought they weren't doing database pages for
It's
indie
it's a
games, or have they
community
changed
wiki
that?
thing. So if they
okay.
talk about it, like there's one in there for I Made a Game with Zombies in it, and some of the others. The wiki is the game database is a wiki, so it's community driven. If the
Right.
community puts it in, and as a Xbox Live Indie developer, I recommend you go in there and make a wiki page for your game. Well, we should make one for Inca Blocks.
No.
Yes, we should
What?
make one for Inca
We
Blocks
don't
and
have
Giant
to
Bomb.
say anything. We don't. We just have to. But we can't put the status that.
I think they approve the pages, though. I think they talk about the podcast.
They do. They have taken down pages they don't approve of.
Well, you don't have to say much. You just have to point
Then
out
we could
its
be the game
position.
banned by Giant Bomb.
But you can't buy
Come
the game.
play the game, banned by Giant
But you
Bomb.
can't buy the game.
No, you can.
There's
We'll be able to
sales.
post it. Oh, so this is why it's up on Xbox Live Indie Games InfoDB, because when we open source it, which we now have it up and running and compiling on XNA 4.0 for PC and Xbox, it's working. The hang up of why I haven't put the code out right now is that we have to replace the music. We don't have the license to upload the music. So we're taking examples. Send an email to podcast. We're taking recommendations. Send an email to podcast at GameMarx.com and title it Inca Blocks Music, and let us know your favorite Kevin MacLeod songs that we should include in the open source version. You know, because the reality is, it's going to have to be an open source license music. It's going to have to be a Creative Commons type license for us to be able to put it in the project. And I want somebody to be able to download the project and just hit build and have everything. I don't want to have to tell them.
I will write you some music that's Creative Commons if you promise not to use another damn Kevin MacLeod track.
Oh, okay. I don't think I can turn that down. I think I have to accept that.
Free labor. Yes. Win.
Will it be ezmuze authored?
Probably not.
Because, I mean, there's some great cross-promotion opportunity there for you. You know, we can put in the about file, you know.
I don't think he wants his name attached.
Okay.
It just hit me that we need to have like a README file that explains how to build the game, how to put it up on the Xbox service, how to exploit Xbox to get it up to the top. You know, just like put that thing in a README or like a make file.
Well,
have you realised though, if you open source it, Mr. Xbox will come along, change the graphics, and make more money than you?
I look forward to that day. I honestly do. I don't know that they're going to make more money than us because it's not a fun game.
More than zero is fine.
But
Silver Dollar Game strategy works.
Exactly. I'm waiting. I'm actually
women blocks.
I actually hope we get Silver Dollar Games.
Booby blocks.
Booby blocks.
I don't think it would be. It wouldn't be Silver Dollar Games. It would be a knockoff.
No, I don't. I want the best. I want the best in Xbox Live
They
Indie
don't
Games.
seem like the type to steal outright. They just seem like
He would
the
have to
type
upgrade. He would have to be Gold Digger Games, wouldn't he? We're going to keep pushing that. Every podcast, we're going to call it Gold Digger Games until it sticks.
And get booby blocks.
We're going to be like...
You need mates.
At that point, we should, you know, we're able to go, that could have been us, you know.
And you know, the funny thing is that the game itself is potential for a lawsuit. Okay? So the game is based on an actual board game, Rumus.
No.
Which was put out by some weird educational guy who never would have sued anybody and never cared.
Weird educational guy.
Yeah, some guy. It is. It's an educational game. Now, that's where my daughter got it from. It's a spatial learning game, which is why it's not fun at all.
Not special, but spatial.
And
a special spatial game.
The company, who is it? Mattel. They make Blockus.
I think so.
Yes.
I guess so, yeah.
They bought the rights to Rumus.
And they put
call it Blockus
everywhere.
3D. It's called Blockus 3D. So if you want the game as the board game, you can go get it as Blockus 3D now. And Mattel has a reputation for suing anybody that they think has ripped off their game. Yeah, they're Uno, they're Barbie, they have a reputation. So it will be funny if somebody takes it, clones it, gets on Mattel's radar, and then they get sued for it.
I think what you're saying is open sourcing this game only has the potential to make us more angry and bitter at
We could
the
be
system.
the ones to shut down Silver Dollar Games. Think of how awesome that would be.
But I keep waiting for them to make something I want.
I don't think they're that stupid.
Oh, not if they're listening now. They thought about it for a moment and then they left it. The thing is that we're going to open source it. We're going to release it.
Boobies.
Yeah. We're going to release it as is. We're going to release it as it's shipped. So I think you can confirm, James, that code that actually shipped doesn't look as pretty as code that you would show off, does it?
No.
No. It works and it ran and it's bug-free and, you know, it's not code to learn from. And I encourage everybody, when they get up there, go grab the file that is the artificial intelligence file that I wrote that I thought, because it was a simple puzzle game, right? That was supposed to be like a 2-night task for me.
Right.
And it turned into a 1-month epic battle. to get that working fast enough that it could make moves within 30 seconds sometimes. And even then, like, waiting 30 seconds for the computer to make a move sometimes is not what you want.
Yeah. And like I said last time, just skip all the UI stuff in there. Go to the Funkworks XNA library where it's all nice and like classed out. And
Do we offer anything really in that XNA Exports library that's a helpful thing to anybody? Given that the entire screen manager could be replaced with game components.
Well, the screen manager isn't in there. We've got the controller
okay.
class, which actually handles like timed button presses and things like that, and lets you know when a button is pressed or released. We've got the cover flow manager. We've got a couple of
yes, because
UI...
cover flow did so well for Inkablock.
Well, the thing
you know
is,
what? Now we might see a cover flow version of the Silver Dollar Games library screen.
No.
How would that make you feel, Dylan, to know that your library that you got up there and cleaned up and shipped is now in Silver Dollar Games?
A little dirty. Not gonna lie. It made me feel a little like I've... what have I done?
We're getting way off topic. Let's rein this back in. Let's move on here. For games we've been playing recently, of course, I haven't been playing anything. I've been playing the code stock, get the T-shirt to the printer on time deadline, get the
How fast can you reply to emails?
just to give an idea of my world of hell, Novell, apparently no longer a company. It's no longer a thing. They're gone. Monodroid, boom, gone. So I am 2 weeks out from the conference trying to figure out replacements.
Suddenly this is your
for
problem.
Like 7.
Well, not
Not
7.
quite 7,
But yeah, I had at least 3 sessions of Monodroid, all highly popular, by the way, and trying to get last-minute substitutions done.
Yeah, I mean, mobile apps are, like, huge.
Yeah, so that was the game that I played this week. I did win. I met all my deadlines, and I got it off, and there's a guy being printed, and I got everything, shuffled out. And if you're listening to this and you're coming to Codestock, I did have one of the Monodroid presenters who actually has a book completed. It's never going to see the light of day, I think, now, but he had written a book on Monodroid, and he's going to kind of do a Q&A session of what the future is, where it's going, because it's no longer with Novell, but that doesn't mean it's dead yet.
Yeah.
There's some people picking it up and running with that. So he'll do a Q&A, and you can kind of find out the future there. But you played Sequence, Dylan.
Yeah, I actually, I've got a draft of it written. I need to go back over it and schedule it for next week.
Can you give us the review? Can you give us the...
Oh, man, let me see where to begin.
The score? And
well, it's going to be a buy. Because I really enjoyed it.
Not statistically shocking from you, but go ahead.
Well, actually...
I think that's because you take all the good games for yourself. I think that's what that stat reflects.
Oh, yeah.
Dylan hoards the good games for himself.
Well,
Especially RPGs.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I'm usually the first to...
Yeah.
Okay. Go on, your review.
Okay. It's a buy. I don't know, like, I've played a lot of Rock Band, I've played a lot of DDR, so I'm kind of the target audience for the game. So I played it on easy.
Did you break out the DDR map?
I actually did. I tried it with a guitar and with the DDR mat. The DDR mat is a little bit funny because you have to use it with the controller. So you're flipping between panels and casting spells and stuff with your controller, and then you're actually hitting the buttons on the mat. I don't know how this would play at higher difficulty levels. It's really focusing on, you have to hit combos perfectly and stuff like that to fire off a spell. One of the difficulties I had was I think I went... You can change difficulty levels through floor 3 of the tower, and there are 7 floors. So
what does that mean? Like, once you go to floor 4 and beyond, you're locked into a difficulty?
Yes, but before that, you can kind of get a feel for the game. And it gets a lot more difficult as things progress. To learn spells, you have to actually play through like a 2 or 3 minute song and get a certain combo or get a certain accuracy percentage. So, and that goes way up.
Well, I guess so. Break it
I
down.
don't
So
know
the DDR, the button mashing, the Guitar Hero aspect of it.
Yes.
How did you find that to go on in the game? Did that get old, or did that stay fresh and new, or?
Actually, actually enjoyed it. Like I about floor 5 or 6, I kind of had this moment where I'm like, this is just grinding for items that I can use to craft other items. This is everything I hate about WoW. But I didn't really care because it did have the aspect of, the rhythm game in there. It reuses a lot of the same music, so it kind of gets old if you did what I did and like tried to craft almost every item you could, tried to learn every spell you could. There's even like this one secret item you can get that will get you this extra scene at the end, which really wasn't worth all the time I spent on it, but it was kind of cool.
That never is.
No, but the crafting aspect is fun. The level up and crafting aspect, I think, can actually substitute for experience playing rhythm games.
So the other half of it, the RPG game.
Yeah.
When you started talking to me about crafting, I didn't realize like it got that crazy deep.
Yeah.
So it's got more crafting than Fortress Craft.
Different kind of crafting, I guess.
If you can put one thing with another thing, it's got more crafting.
Yeah, well, I guess so. Basically, yeah, you like each floor you pick from 3 monsters. It has all the drop rates shown. That's pretty much the meat of the game. But you do that enough, and it doesn't matter so much that you hit every combo perfectly and defend against every attack. I would highly recommend it. Especially the art is awesome and the voice acting is just extremely professional. And what's interesting, the end credits, they even have a kind of a commentary track by the programmer who also does the main character's voice and then some of the other actors.
So that's the programmer doing that.
Yeah.
Well, a little hat tip to him. That's pretty good. I thought that would have been a professional voice actor, or somebody not the programmer.
What's awesome is they talk about the process in there, and he apparently, like, I think he lives in LA or something like that. So obviously he's in an area where that would work. But he went through a casting process with these people. He talks about one of the guys, was only in the area for a month, and he was like, yes, we have to get him in to do this. It's just...
Wow, that's scary for an indie game. Like, when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, what are you doing? Do you know how much money you're not going to make on this? Like, what?
Yeah, like,
calls
there's a max... And I don't know exactly what that
It might be
entails.
a cheaper deal to do casting calls in LA.
Yeah.
And these were not like well-known actors
even as we found out, kind of like some of the well-known voice actors and actresses will do this kind of work for fairly approachable rates.
This felt like, I didn't recognize any of the names there, but I mean, I think he did a pretty good job with outsourcing the voice, the like character design and art and things like that. He did the stuff he could do. He brought in people to do the rest. It's a really professional title. Looks like it could be, an XBLA game or something like that.
I think you had a weird comment in chat where you said for the game that we had in development, Rocks,
yes,
like Sequence was the best we could aspire to.
Well,
I know you had it. I know you had like you were talking about specific features and things like that. But that just came across chat. It was like so weird. I was like, wait, what?
What I meant is, I think it actually, the thing we've talked about, like voice acting, and it may not be the best we can aspire to in terms of quality. Not to say that we're going to do better than that, but that there's any comparison there. It's got good voice acting. It's got good art. It's kind of a niche genre, but it's not so niche that, other people, people who aren't that familiar with rhythm games, I don't
know how it's doing. I don't know how niche it's become. I don't think I've seen any sales stats on it.
But I think, like, whatever their numbers are, that's like what, that's kind of the ballpark what we can really hope for. So I think it's kind of a good gauge in that sense.
My fear on that, though, is that it's not a Twitch gamer game. And that seems to be what really does well in Xbox Live Indie games. Either you go for a strong retro RPG, and you do a good RPG.
Or you go for something that plays into the my dick is bigger than yours culture.
Twitch gaming is a nicer way to say that, but yes, penis size competition.
E-pain!
We should make that a genre. We should have a genre on GameMarx. This is a penis size competition game. Instead of calling them scoreboard shooters.
That just sounds wrong.
No, it's exactly what it is.
Oh.
I mean, when...
I'm opening up Visual Studio right now.
Don't do that literally. You would have to work really hard to get that around all the XBLIG or the Xbox Live.
But I mean, if you
all
break it
we
down,
have to do is get
if you break it
can't
down,
show anything.
break it down though, like X3, right? Like the big complaint against X3 was no online scoreboards. Like I couldn't show people the size of my penis. I have this massive
it's your
penis,
dick in a
and
box.
I can't
You just
share
get a
it.
bigger box. You just get a bigger box.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I feel really bad
Easy
for like,
Muse
people
penis
now,
size
like,
edition. That's next in the queue.
Is that just adding like a rating to like when you upload each song? There's
It's
like
my
a
junk
rating
in the
control.
box.
This
and then
one is
there's
worth
a,
6 inches. This one is
A
8
junk
inches.
in a box, babe. It's my junk in a box.
Oh, all right.
You've
Cicely,
just reduced all of gamer culture to this like Neanderthal.
we're
sort
about
of,
getting to the truth, sir.
Oh,
It wouldn't be funny if it wasn't true.
that is true. I want to think
Cicely,
people are
do you
so
have any
much better
games-
than this.
Do you have any games playing recently?
I've been playing Try Not to Get the Child to Spit Up Down Your Cleavage. How about that?
Wow.
How's your penis rating in that going?
Not so good.
Not so good. 2 inches.
Or worse.
Oh, how about you, James? Any playing
Child
recently?
fall off the couch.
Crisis 2.
Crisis 2. Wow, I gotta check that game out. I keep hearing people check that out, but I don't. Something about that. Is it a fighting game?
No, that's a first-person shooter, I think.
It's a first-person shooter. I don't know. I
You
hear the
said never
game and
having played
it
it?
says to me, fighting game and JRPG,
Which game is this?
and that like immediately hits like Crisis 2.
Oh.
And but I don't know anything about it. I don't know.
The word cry?
I have no idea what the game's about. That's just from the name of the box
I get a
art.
flash in my head of somebody collecting stuff, but that's about it.
Wasn't Crisis like the game that required these super high PC specs, and it was kind of the joke for a while?
They've lowered the specs in Crisis 2, but even with my 8-core Xeon, 2.8 gig, 10 gig RAM, dual ATI 5770 graphics cards, I still only get 35 frames a second.
Wait,
Yeah, I
wait,
heard.
now.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Do you have the SSD though, James? Do you have an SSD in there?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well then, all right. Yeah, I don't know.
SSD shouldn't be your bottleneck for frames per second there. If they are, they're doing something massively wrong.
Wow, that rivals.
It is pretty.
That rivals Funkworks Studio. That rivals because we don't have a Xeon. We've got the iCore 7. We got 8 cores, but it's an iCore 7. It's not a Xeon. So I know that.
Mine is a Xeon from 1942 or something, though.
Oh, okay. Well, I've dealt with the Xeons in the server though. I mean, they're the shit. They hold up. Yeah, and I put some insane amount of gigs of RAM in this thing into. I put like 12 or something in there in an SSD, and it doesn't matter. It still takes a fucking long amount of time to render video.
Yeah.
I spent all this money on this thing, and then it's still like the best
Getting there
I can
only
hope
so
for.
many cores it can use.
Yeah, the
or
best I can
something.
hope for is that if I render an 8-minute video, it takes 8 minutes or less to complete. That's the best.
This is video editing.
And most of the time, that's not true. Most of the time, it's taking 16 minutes to render 8 minutes of video. Most of it is just stuff we didn't do anything to. It's just stock gameplay footage, like in the trials.
That vastly funny because my old iPad, not iPad, the iBook, whatever crappy crap I have, the black thing that I have that I don't use anymore, that I used in college, rendered 3D graphics fairly quickly on Form Z.
Yeah, but that wasn't even an
Video
Intel
and-
Mac. You're talking an old Mac. on
Yeah,
that,
it's an old Mac, but Form Z is a load of craps piled on burning shit.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what codec you're saying rendered to video.
Yes.
I guess it depends on like what codec you're.
Well, I mean,
rendering
she's
to
talking
and what
architecture
render
software, so
size.
it's a little different there
Yeah.
on that. Anything interesting from chat? Anything to bring up before I move on to news?
No.
No. Okay. Well, let's talk about something nobody's been playing. The PlayStation 3.
I'm sure people have been playing it. Just
I
not
know
online.
we're an Xbox Live Indie Games podcast, but this is so
It only
a
does
much a
Amusing.
comedy of errors. Like I can't just pass
Amusing.
on this. So, what I love is that they got it back up, and they had like this change your password page because everybody's like, our passwords have been leaked. I must change them now, and you could go into the password page and reset your password. Say like, oh, I lost my password. Say, okay, what's your name, birth date, and address? There was no email confirmation step. So basically, it asks you three
You
pieces
can't
of
get
information.
it sent to your email address.
Well,
is what
it
you're
asks you
saying.
3 pieces of information that they just leaked last month on everybody's account. So they had to take down the password reset page as fast as they put it up because hackers were all over it, pumping in everybody's address and information, changing their accounts and taking control.
That's just. I think what's sad about that is I could totally see like if this was a small website that some web design company that's handling like 20 other projects is doing, I could totally see them going, oh yeah, we forgot about that, and like, but this is like Sony, and I'm not like bashing Sony here. It's just like,
No, go ahead. Bash them.
They should know better. They should be able to do
well, I
better.
read one report that said that part of the problem was they were running like unpatched Apache servers for some of this. I'm like,
Part of
really
the problem
Apache?
is
It's not
there
some-
is a hardware service rather than a software service, and they don't know jack about anything else.
Yeah, but it's just disillusioning that
There's
they do all
also
these
the
things.
reports and rumors that the
I could do this.
firmware update, because there's a firmware update to fix some of the exploits and things like that coming for the PS3s.
Yeah,
It causes your PS3 to overheat, especially if you play LA Noire. And I'm thinking like the LA Noire is kind of a red herring because that's a game you'll play for hours straight.
yeah,
So
and it's
that
got
would-
like high-end graphics.
And it's got high-end
and-
graphics, and it would tax the system.
Yeah, and
But-
a lot of people are playing it right now since Tuesday, I'm sure.
It's like they just cratered at the end of this. Like, I think Sony at E3, which is like next week, I think,
Yeah,
they should come out and go, yeah, PS3, fuck that. Here's PS4. Okay, we've just given up, and we're going to just go in early.
Hell,
We've
I
given
would
up.
say we're going with PSN 6.
well,
Yeah.
not to get too far into another story we're talking about, but PSN has this issue. Xbox are releasing the issue with the new disc format, and it's breaking certain Xboxes. Like that Wii 2,
That's
not looking so crazy now.
True, but the Xbox thing is an incompatibility issue with something new rather than
Oh, yeah.
incompatibility
Well,
with something
when-
they already have.
Go ahead,
When
James.
Sony screw up, they give away your credit card details. When Microsoft screw up, they give you a new Xbox. I'm going with Microsoft on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they are kind of winning on that. Now, so on that
Winning!
story, the details on that, it's funny how this kind of broke, because somebody ran with a story, and they took stuff out of context, and it basically ran, I think it was Gama Sutra, or maybe they were linking to somebody else,
I can't remember where I
the
saw
source.
it,
But
it was
basically,
some blog I didn't recognize.
through the rumor chain, had become, Microsoft is giving free Xbox 360s to all old Xbox 360
Yeah,
owners.
replacing them with the new.
Yeah,
one.
replace them with the new one because they won't update. And then, like, what it actually is, reality is, there has been some updates already out that are causing disk read errors on the Xbox. And it's not particular. It doesn't matter when you bought your Xbox. You could have a new 360S.
Right.
my guess, that Microsoft hasn't said, this is just my guess, is that there's a firmware flash that takes place, and, certain times the firmware flash fails. And a DVD drive probably doesn't have, like, your BIOS, where there's, like, a backup firmware to kick in or something, dual firmware BIOS flash. It's a DVD drive. Who gives a crap? So those fail, and then Microsoft needs to replace them, and that they're either going to not be able to play the new discs, or they need to get ahead of the new disc system. Now, the new discs basically are going to allow a little bit more space on a DVD, but I think it's probably more of a piracy combat issue than it is trying to get more space on a DVD.
It sounds like, though, that they caught this either they caught it early, or it's not affecting a lot of people, or they actually caught this in beta. Whatever they're doing, I can't help but think the fact that they're being so responsive to this is kind of in response to the PSN thing. It's like, no, we don't want to be this week's Sony.
Well, Microsoft have generally been pretty good. I mean, they drug their feet a little bit about Red Ring of Death, but when they actually
dealt with it, they
dealt with it. They gave you 3-year warranties, and
which is enough for enough time that any broken Xboxes are going to fail in that time, and any that don't have the issue
I think if you don't get it to fail within that 3 years, you're not using it enough likely that you're going to heat it up, but you still run that risk. Another thing that is coming for the Xbox 360, and I totally misread this, and I jumped in the forum and made a post and was like, all right, break this down for me. Was PayPal coming to Xbox 360. And what I misread on Major Nelson's blog was that you'll be able to use it to buy points, subscriptions, and games-on-demand titles. And you told me, and I didn't go check this, but you can already pay cash for games-on-demand titles.
Yeah, they are not priced in Microsoft
They are not priced in points. So I assume they were priced in points.
I guess just because they're, like, you're paying $30, $40 for a game.
Some of the music is actually priced in real dollars.
The reason I don't give a shit about games-on-demand titles is because they're $30, $40 fucking dollars.
Yeah.
First of all, there's no disc, there's no box. I'm fucked if it doesn't move to my new Xbox 720 hard drive. I'm not paying $40 full price for that shit. All right? Yep. You have cheaper distribution costs, and you're trying to charge me rack prices.
Same price. Yeah.
The second thing is, those games come out so late, the disc is already $20 brand new at Best Buy.
Yep.
So forget used market. Best Buy, I can go get new on disc for $20. I mean, maybe I'm nostalgic, maybe I'm clinging to a dead system a little bit too longer, but I put cartridges in my 8-bit NES still, and play those games still.
Yeah, I feel safer having a disc, although, to be honest,
I mean, granted, if
it's not like I still play original Xbox games that often.
You would have to go to, like, a used market like you do with the Nintendo, because Nintendo doesn't make any more 8-bit NESs.
Yeah.
But I could go find an 8-bit NES somewhere and still play the games that I bought.
Actually, there are people who have made, like,
20 years ago.
NES compatible.
Yes.
Yeah.
And adapters and things like that. But, I mean, I have the game. I have Legend of Zelda. I can take it and I can play it, even though it's like 12K download off of a ROM site or whatever, it's actually on that. But I can pop it in and play it, and that's why I don't care about games-on-demand titles. That's why I never went in there, because I'm not going to pay that money. So, but it turned out, I thought it was going to be this cool, awesome, like, do you want to pay points or do you want to pay cash with PayPal? And I thought that was awesome because
it's still awesome that they're doing this, I think. But it's not.
It's just another, like, link your credit card, link your PayPal.
It's a reaction to Sony. The Sony issue.
No, I think it had to be in work longer than that. I don't think it's a reaction to the Sony issue.
It's possible, but I can't
Microsoft does not move
think
that fast. No, it's not a reaction to Sony. I think this is more bringing
the people
the
in
Xbox.
Microsoft that move that fast are no longer there.
Well, no.
This is more Microsoft bringing the Xbox in line with Windows Phone 7. And this is also allowing Microsoft to hit more countries quickly with Xbox.
True.
I think those are the two reasons behind it. I don't think it has anything to do with Sony. I wouldn't.
I could see them pushing that support out for Sony just because they don't want to be like they want all their bases covered because...
No, you ever tried to remove your credit card from Xbox Live? You
Can't
can't
be
fucking
done.
do it. You cannot do it.
You can, but you have to do it through the web.
No.
I've done it.
No, I tried
I
to
have done
remove... I tried to remove off my classic Xbox. I tried to remove my credit card because I was like, oh, I've hacked that thing. I'm never going to use it on Live again.
Yeah.
Cannot pull out the credit card number from my profile.
Oh,
Even
from the
dead...
system, not from Xbox Live.
Correct.
Well, yeah, kind of both, but yeah, like it's still in there. It's still on my 360. If I boot it up, it's still fucking sitting
My
there.
card number changed, and I had to like dig for it on the site, but I eventually got that changed.
You can change it.
You
No,
can change it,
I
yeah.
got that removed. I end up
you can enter
having
if you
two
enter
for
a new credit
while.
card, you can change it. A new valid
Okay.
credit card will change it. What you can't go in there is delete it, completely gone, and have no credit card anymore with your account.
Okay, yeah, you can't have no credit card, but for a while I had two, and then I dug around.
So
and
I don't
deleted
give
one
them
of
the like, oh, we're trying to be nice and not store credit card numbers. No, fuck it. They're going to hold
Yeah.
on to that thing until like they get legislated out of not being able to hold on to that credit card number. And
Yeah.
if you're going to cancel your Live subscription, you're going to call and wait on hold and go through all that crap.
Yeah.
And
And then
I
they'll
don't-
renew it anyway.
And then they're
Yeah.
they're gonna be like, well, just for blah blah blah, you can renew, and be like, no, I want to stop it, disconnect me now, or I will sue your ass off.
So yeah, I was hoping this was going to be more awesome than it was, but maybe something will come. Like, I mean, I expect there's going to be a fall dashboard update like there's been the last
Yeah.
couple years. And that's usually when the real functionality comes in new. And maybe we can unconnect fuck our Xboxes and we can get back to what they were before we connect fucked our Xboxes.
I don't know. It definitely seems like they trickle things out, but they don't warn you. Like Hulu Plus just appeared. I was like, holy crap.
Other news I've got here.
Out of curiosity, has anything been said in chat? Because you're like typing a lot over there.
No, 1 second, we're live. This is dead air. Now.
Quickly, woman, quickly!
We've been talking about it's like canceling AOL.
Oh yeah.
And then it was asked if I don't like talking to Indian people. I was like, no, I put on enough of that southern accent to where they actually will talk to me with an American.
You know what? Speaking of that, I think Outsource was canceled.
Which is fucked up.
It is fucked up. Outsource was hilarious. Go back on Hulu or Netflix if you can get it and watch Outsource.
Never
First
watched
season,
it.
not so
other-
great, but after
You
that,
didn't watch
it
the
gets
whole
better.
damn first season. You can't say that. The first season was good.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. You didn't watch the whole thing.
I
We're not
watched
having
more
a
of
You
it
are not
than-
qualified. The next piece of news I got up here is Breath of Death coming to the PC.
Yep.
$3 Steam bundle now. So it's going to be a $3 Steam bundle to get Cthulhu Saves the World and Breath of Death. I don't see how you could fucking pass that up. That's just awesome, and it's awesome that Steam is going to allow him to bundle the two. And I bet you Steam might actually give Robert money for his game. Like, he might actually see some money from his game from Steam.
Incredible.
Yes, incredible. And what I'm getting at there is, I don't know if this is news anymore, but Microsoft has still not paid, or they're starting to. Some developers are reporting getting paid, but there are behind payments for their Q1 stuff that we paid for, like, stuff really long time. So basically what it boils down to is Robert hasn't gotten any money for Cthulhu Saves the World because it came out the end of December.
So it's
and-
tacked on.
yeah, like he's still waiting for that check to clear. And that's getting fucking ridiculous. Like, they moved Windows Phone 7 to monthly payments. Why are they stretching this out to quarterly? Why are they still doing this? Why haven't they moved this to a monthly payment system like everyone else? The thing that cracks me up,
I'll bet
though,
you for the numbers they're getting, most developers are not hitting that.
most of the developers are $79 for Inca blocks. But
Yeah, exactly.
the thing that cracks me up is their policy is, we're going to pay you quarterly,
Yeah.
but we can take 45 days to pay you quarterly. However, you cannot ask us, where's my money, bitch, until 60 days. That fucking cracks me up. That's like some balls. It's like, when we're late, and we're late by as late as we can possibly be, you still have to sit $15 before you're allowed to send an email and say, "Where's my money, bitch?"
You better pay what you
It
owe.
shouldn't be more than 30 days.
No,
I
it shouldn't.
swear.
And you should be able to send an email and ask, "Where's my money, bitch?" anytime you want to send that email.
They
Like,
just
you
don't
should
have
not
the
be
support
told.
staff for that.
It's billing. It should not be. It's a little dude
No,
with the mustache that comes in, that's sheriff of finance. Who's that on the forums? Peel?
I have no idea.
Yeah, Pheel. He's sheriff of finance. Is in his signature. He's a Microsoft guy. This is a completely different department. It's money. It's, billing and...
Not want to be him right now.
Not like he has any power.
Well, yeah. But
I don't know. He's sheriff of finance. He's sheriff around these
that.
it
parts.
doesn't matter if he has power.
Microsoft.
He's got a big target painted on him is what he has.
He's got a target, but
Basically,
no
what you're
power.
saying is he's the sheriff from Blazing Saddles.
Yes!
That's his life.
He is pissed.
Who is... Does that make indie games Gene Wilder at that point?
No,
Are they the drunk locked in the cell?
possibly.
I have that on DVD, but I have not yet watched
Watch
it.
it.
Oh,
I know,
God
I
damn
need
it,
to watch it.
Dylan. Come on. This is another staple. How can you have not watched Blazing Saddles?
Don't ask him that.
They hung his horse. Oh, all right. We're going to go
It's
on.
worth
We're
it
not
for
gonna...
the bean scene.
Yes, the bean scene. Come on. Have you not even at least seen the bean scene on YouTube?
No.
James is in another culture on another continent and knows about Blazing Saddles.
This is not surprising. I mean, I know about stuff from England. That's not like, have you watched the IT Crowd?
Yeah.
Yep.
There
And
go.
you know what? I watched Doctor Who.
Okay, I haven't.
And then he
'cause I
forced
don't
me
know
to
where
watch Doctor
start.
Who. And then I liked watching Doctor Who.
No, I forced you to watch the originals
Yes, you did.
that I grew up with.
And then I liked Tom Baker, and then it was beans from there.
The original Doctor Who is so fucking bad. Like the first episode, with Tom Baker, dude comes out and he's like, "I got hit by the alien," and he has green bubble wrap on his hand. Like he's just holding some green bubble wrap wrapped around his hand. Like they had no budget whatsoever. Like the sonic screwdriver was a twig. Like literally picked up a twig on the ground and oh, that's why a sonic screwdriver. Oh, it's great.
Couldn't just get a real screwdriver and say it was Sonic?
I met the commander of unit. I forget his name. Shit. I
Barry.
can't remember his name. In the original Tom Baker Doctor Who, although they kind of phased out unit in Tom Baker era, but before that, Doctor Who was always talking with the British government through unit. It wasn't the commander; it was the lieutenant. He was at jury television one day. Holy fucking
Really?
shit!
Why?
Yeah,
Was
he was in the States, and he was doing some other stuff and some other work and things like that. Definitely locked in the 70s. I mean, over here the British accent means a lot, so it's
Yes.
oh, he's high class, he's British accent, but he was wearing a blue jacket, a blue sports jacket. I'm not talking dark blue,
Are
navy
we talking
blue.
pimp-tastic royal blue?
We're talking pimp-tastic royal blue, yellow
powder blue even?
yellow
No, royal.
shirt, solid red tie. That's what he was walking around in, and he made some comment about how he's dressed up or something like that. And
I'm just envisioning
Did
him
he
as
say
a
dressed
palette
up, or did he
swap
say
Lupin
dressed
the
to the
Third.
nines?
yes,
I
I
want him to
Brits,
have
we've got
said.
class.
yeah.
I want him to have said dressed to the nines.
Doctor Who, Lieutenant of Unit. I'm gonna see if I can fact check that on the podcast and get his name. Check that out. Wikipedia. List of unit personnel. Brigadier, Corporal Bell.
It exists because
John,
someone.
stop hating on Doctor Who. Doctor Who is the awesomeness.
I haven't seen any Doctor Who to say one way or the other. I guess I need to just pick a season and I got Netflix after I got Hulu Plus. Since I don't know why it took me so long to try the streaming service. So eventually I probably will if I actually get my queue cleared out at this point.
Okay, there's a lot of unit personnel on that Wikipedia page, so no, I'm not going to get it right now. Next news article that I had up, this is actually an Apple article. There's a weird patent thing happening. So this patent troll company has a patent on in-app purchases, and Apple has a license to use this patent.
Require you
Okay,
to use this patent.
and so what they're going after is developers now who have apps in the App Store who are using Apple's API for in-app purchases, which you're required to use. It's the only way to do that. But the developers are saying need to have the patent covered as well. Now, it's sad that Apple's been silent on this. But they have said something like we're investigating. But it would really be kind of nice if Apple would kind of say, like, hey, we paid for a license to this patent, and we put out the SDK, and fuck off, you're just a patent troll.
Yeah.
But the verbiage around the patent, and I'm not a lawyer, but the verbiage said something to the effect of, we are patenting the ability for purchasing content from within the app.
Do they specify what type of app?
And I don't
All
think they do.
apps.
And the ability to upgrade a free app to paid, which is kind of what went, what? You know, like a buy now button inside the app. It has to be inside the app. Now, I don't know where Xbox Indie Games falls, because we have a buy now button in Xbox Indies, but it's not 100% like an in-app purchase, because it goes outside the app and Microsoft executes a sale, and that may be enough.
But it still pops up within the app, and you can actually keep playing.
It pops up within the app, but it's not within the app. It's outside of the app, so that's how they would get around it.
Maybe.
Yeah, it actually seems like this could affect not just our apps, but maybe like XBLA and PSN.
Yeah, that's what I mean. This has far-reaching... obviously they're targeting the successful apps on iOS right now to try to shake down some money from these developers.
If they can shake down Farmville, let them goddamn.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why don't they hit the real bad guys?
Because
in
Zynga
this?
is the
Facebook
biggest
apps.
one of these. It's like you can buy your farm bucks right here, and if they take down Zynga, then they can take down anyone.
I don't think that happens. Zynga is the largest game studio now. It's sad, but it's true. In terms of revenue,
if you can't take down Zynga, then fuck you.
No, they can get a license. Zynga can settle and get a license and make it go away. That's not a threat to Zynga.
Zynga will just spin up another.
Well, I know it's not a threat to Zynga, but if you can't take down Zynga, the threat to
it won't matter. It won't be a takedown. It won't be anything. Zynga will be fine.
Their lawyers are more powerful.
It's to the indie developers. If they're able to go down and start shaking down the indie developers, and then
although most of the ones that I've been on, they're all in a collective with Game Center or one of the other big major collectives, so they would have to be shaking down the collective itself.
No, you don't understand. That's the point. They're going after not Apple.
I don't
they're
mean
going
after. I know they're going after individuals, but they can say they're part of a collective like Game Center. And the Game Center requires you to have the in-app purchase.
You're not a company with Game Center.
I know you're not a company with Game Center, but
not,
if you're required to have the in-app purchase...
The best we could hope for is to enjoin Apple to the lawsuit, because Apple has the SDK of the method you're using, and they required it. So the best thing for an indie developer to do that's hit by this lawsuit is to get the judge to rule that Apple is enjoined to this lawsuit because they are tied, because they forced the developer to use that. They didn't force the developer in Game Center. Game Center is not a corporation. That's not going to work.
The only way
the problem is that Apple is staying silent.
You know, if it works, that where they can't get Apple to enjoin, that Amazon might be able to say, "Fuck you, bitches! You don't have to buy it through their app anymore."
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter though. No. See, it doesn't matter. Even if Amazon. Basically, the precedent would be set that
Amazon could cut Apple out.
Hold on, let me finish, you drunk wino. Amazon would have to say, we're going to pay the patent royalties not only for us, but for all apps ever. And that's a dangerous precedent, and I would really like to see Apple step up and just slap these guys down with, if you come and fuck with our app ecosystem, we're going to fuck with you both barrels. And we're going to be bigger than you, and we're going to run the patent troll. Or we'll seek to invalidate, we'll pull some stuff like that. If they kind of stay silent and they let the developers one by one kind of get screwed over, I think we're going to see a lot more of these patent trolls come out and realize, hey, we can shake down a developer for a couple $1,000s because the developer can't afford to fight it.
Yeah,
It's clear though that Apple hate developers because you've seen Xcode, haven't you?
I have, but I think Apple likes to cat and mouse torture developers. They like to play with you and fuck with you because you have to contrast that with like what Microsoft treatment of developers
you could be
is.
Angry Birds. Hey, you could be... No!
You know, I mean, it's... You know, the funny thing is that Apple actually allows you to use alternate... You can go get Unity, you can go get Game Salad, and you can use these things to write your games. You can't use any of these on Microsoft platforms. Like, Microsoft actually is the walled garden. It's not a great garden. It's kind of dead. Normally, you want to be in the walled garden because the garden's beautiful, and you don't care about the walls. This is kind of a dead, barren garden, but you're still walled in. Like, you have to use XNA, and XNA is not bad, so you're kind of okay with it. You're like, oh, this doesn't taste bad.
Silverlight,
if you mix some honey, and it makes the medicine go down easier, you know, it's like, it's okay. It's not too bad. But it's scary because if you go XNA, this is for an indie studio that's trying to get exposure. If you go XNA, you have, realistically, distribution channels of Xbox Live indie games and Windows Phone 7. You might get on Steam, but you can get on Steam with anything, and XNA isn't a guaranteed outlet for that. Publishing XNA by yourself is almost kind of a nightmare because you have to get the... are you okay, James?
Yeah.
Okay. I just heard like a click, and I don't know if you fell down or...
Drunk and stupid, dribbling on the floor.
But you're
Understandable.
Only going to get Microsoft platforms with XNA, whereas if you decided to invest in Unity,
you can hit all kinds of things.
You hit, iOS and you hit Android, and now, of course, it always comes down to what kind of game are you building. Will that game work on those platforms? Like, there's other questions to answer. You're not targeting a console, but if you did a successful game with Unity through Steam, let's say, that got you to the point where you could get a XBLA contract with Microsoft for a game, you can still use Unity. Like, it carries with you. Yeah. If you use XNA, then you have Xbox Live indie games, and, maybe you can get the Steam, but it seems to be a much higher up road, and that seems to be about it. You can't go to Android, the web. You can't go to
well, you could until last week, and Novell disappeared.
Yeah, and the weird thing, Unity is actually C#, and when I was talking with the guys that know about Mono, that's because Unity actually is using Mono under the hood, which kind of made me scared.
Is it using Mono, or is it using Mono for Android and Mono Touch? Because that's
it uses Mono for the scripting.
Yeah, it uses Mono for the scripting, so it's using Mono.
It may not be affected.
Well, no. See, Mono itself was also supported by the guys. The Mono team... Because Mono is open source, right? So these guys need a paycheck. They got that through Novell. Those guys aren't getting a paycheck, so...
Breaking changes come along in iOS or in Android.
Which will happen for every version.
Yeah.
Question from the forum.
Which is once a week on Android.
Okay, question?
Wasn't someone working on a cross-platform tool for an XNA, iOS, and Android?
There is a Mono XNA project.
But it needs Mono Touch.
No. I mean, there's actually a Mono XNA project. I don't think it was Mono Touch. I think there's an actual XNA for Mono.
Let's say I heard that.
But I don't even think it has like 2.0 level of compatibility. Like it's further out there than like Moonlight is for Silverlight. Which, by the way, since I'm going to rant and we're on this, the whole like Silverlight runs XNA got me totally fucking excited because it's like, well, wait a minute. If I can run XNA as a browser plugin through Silverlight, that's fucking awesome. Flash games are making money, right?
Yeah.
And now I have XNA as an opportunity to basically make Flash games.
Let me guess, only Windows Phone 7.
No, only Windows. So only Silverlight on Windows can run that. So no Mac. You're not cross-platform. And then it's not really running XNA. What you're running is Silverlight uses XNA to do the 3D library stuff. So you don't have a game loop. You don't have...
Okay.
It sounds like some of the YouTube stuff that I can't get on my iPad.
And I don't care. I don't care what the reality is. I don't want to hear it from the framework team. If you can fucking put XNA on a cell phone, you can fucking get it to a browser plugin. All right, no excuses. Oh, all right. Last thing I have up. I don't know if you saw this, but a man built an Android app to propose to his girlfriend.
That sounds like the people who made levels to propose to their girlfriends in what was it, Sackboy?
Little Big Planet.
Little Big Planet, yeah.
So he didn't actually put this on the Android marketplace, but he put it on her phone.
Because that would be awkward.
And it was a Harry Potter quiz app. So it asked like 5 Harry Potter questions, and then like the 6th question was like, "Will you marry me?" And she said yes, or this would be a very shitty story, you know.
No,
she
it
went
would
like,
be just as good a story if she
I thought
said,
you were a
"Fuck
nerd,
no."
but I was okay with it. But now, fuck, I can't do this.
No, really, I just fat fingered that. I meant to click yes. I swear.
Yeah. I was gonna say yes, but you were tracking my location to the GPS, and I'm not gonna accept that. Yeah.
I would say yes if the ring was bigger.
The reason I bring this up, though, is I am throwing down the gauntlet challenge. I want to see somebody propose to get married through Xbox Live Indie Games.
It's a little more tricky because you can't just give them an app, but you know.
No. But like, hey, dear, play this Xbox Indie game and like, get to level 3.
If he's got it on a build that he's letting her use, then that would be okay. Then he can just push that to her.
I want it published. I want it published on the marketplace. I want to do a trial so we can openly mock this.
So we can openly mock it? Like,
yes.
What level of cruelty is that?
Extreme!
Well, I mean, I guess if it works, it's not really that cruel. It's like,
I think you should propose the good old-fashioned way of, you're pregnant, so let's go ahead and get married. Worked for me.
Wow. Wow. Awkward.
No,
That's
it's
not
the
at all,
60s type of thing to do.
When I proposed, as I stood up, I put my hand in my back pocket to pull out the ring. The wife asks, "Are you scratching your ass?"
And so did you address that, or did you ignore it and propose?
I ignored it and proposed.
Okay. See, I'm pretty much of a smartass, and I don't know that I would have left that.
Well, if you're going to be like that...
Like, no, I'm not scratching my ass. I'm digging your ring out of it. Why would you,
Prepping for a pootash.
Yes. Oh, all right. I think we need to... Any questions on the forums?
Not
Before we get to
currently.
new releases?
Not currently.
Okay. I know at one time we had a goal of this podcast being an hour.
When it goes live, it just doesn't happen. When it has a guest on, I mean...
Yeah, we're not doing that.
We need to be okay with that.
But that's why
accept
we
that.
spun off the new releases as a separate podcast, so you could just get to this part.
Yep.
So now it is time for the Xbox Live Indie Games new releases.
So something's going to be music.
Our new releases for the
know.
week. Well, she's drunk on wine. Our new releases for the
Box
week
wine.
are the May 13th through May 19th is what we're covering for the week. And the first one up is Sex or Love. And my first question was, is it Silver Dollar Games? And no, it is actually not a Silver Dollar Games.
You can't really tell from the trial, but it's basically like a quiz game. And the questions are things like, would you be okay with a hookup friend or something like that? It's like
all those magazines that you see in the doctor's office that pander
Yes.
to the women or the
This
girls
does not pander
that
to
think
women.
or the girls that think they're women.
This panders to like frat guys, I think.
No, this panders to girls who think they're women.
No, I don't know.
Maybe
The
it panders to
silhouette,
both.
the
Possibly.
silhouette on the cover
All they need
has an erect nipple.
Do you want to be the silhouette, or do you want the silhouette? Is the
It has an erect
I
nipple.
think it panders to both.
possibly all they need is does he give you an orgasm quiz too?
Well, they
And
never
maybe-
actually give you your
Do you
answers.
need a quiz
so
for
it's
that?
like-
Isn't that kind of a obvious? Do you need to?
Some girls
No
not
one's ever.
so great.
All right. Our
Oh.
next game up is Gork. Gork.
Gork.
Gloria, I
They like
am.
dogs.
We did a video of this one.
Yes.
This is. It starts out like a Cosmos type absorb things smaller than you game clone,
Yeah.
but it actually takes a very cool, pleasant turn. I
Where
thought.
you get to eat the scientists who created you.
Well, yeah. So you get bigger.
That, but
You are moving around
it's kind of a
like
maze
Cosmos in the petri dish. But then you get outside the petri dish, and then you have objects you have to move around, and then you actually get into like mazes and levels, like when you're trying to get out of the building. So it doesn't. It takes that theme and runs with it.
It's not just eating things, because if you get too big, you can't fit into the next level.
game.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I give it props. I give it props for taking and expanding upon a cool gameplay concept that Cosmos had, and Osmosis or the names of those games.
Solar
had.
was one that I remember.
Solar on
playing.
the
I can't
360, yeah.
remember. Anyway.
Had and really building off of that,
Yeah.
and going up. So, the next one I've got here in our list is Tears of Ashes.
Tears of Ashes was
Discover what has happened on the island, why everyone has disappeared, and unveil your destiny.
I actually skipped this game just
Really?
because I forgot that it was there.
Wow.
and yet you've only tonight opened the box wine.
Yep.
It's kind of this point and click adventure. It's kind of neat because you get all these little objects that give you clues about who you are, and there's this tree that you have to fill in, and you combine the note and something else, and you get this other object, and you can mix that object with some other object you pick up, and you get something else. And it's hard to tell from the trial because it seems like a very, very small tree. Like, it took me within the 8 minutes, I think I had collected all that I could collect. It stops you from going down to later levels of the tree, but I don't know. If it has more to it, it looks kind of neat. Otherwise,
Okay. Our next one up is Marble Puzzle. Have you been to a Cracker Barrel?
yeah.
If you have, you've played this game.
If you have, you played this game. This is a little triangle puzzle, jump things, leave one left.
I never remember how to do these, so it got frustrating. Like
Don't
Our next
remember,
game up
don't
is
care.
Speed 7.
Speed 7.
It's kind of like a non-functioning.
Solitaire.
Crazy Eights or something.
Nerds.
Like a Uno Solitaire
Yeah.
Crazy Eights game. You could lean on the mic. They can hear you when you talk to the mic.
They can hear me if I talk loud enough.
You'll sound like echoey and
Yep, you should get on the mic.
Okay.
Get your drunk ass on the mic. Our next one up is Mr. Gravity. And this is one we did do a trial for. And so it's kind of a platformer, but instead of controlling the guy, you control gravity, and you pull him in all four directions.
yeah, it kind of works out as almost kind of controlling the guy, but not quite. I don't know if this is actually like the VVV clone.
I think there's only
Did you
like
talk
6
about-
of them.
Not
I
not
know,
so much
but-
because you kind of half controlled the guy there,
Okay.
and then flipped gravity. So this takes that concept and moves it a little further. In the trial, there's only really one level that gets close to being a puzzle level.
Yeah, it's mostly introducing you to the concepts, which one of the interesting things it does is you're given a star if you clear a challenge by beating so many lives. Beating it without dying.
You get 3 stars if you don't
Okay.
die. You get
Yeah,
3 stars
yes.
if you beat it within the time limit. You get 3 stars if you collect all the gems. And you get an extra star if you do all 3. And you don't have to do this all in one playthrough. It actually suggests you do it in like 2 or 3 to get all of them done.
Yeah, it's kind of this Angry Birds sort of thing where you can go through and finish all the levels.
You
must
collect them all!
Yeah, but you can also go through and try to 3-star.
I think if
everything.
in later levels, and just from the trial, it's kind of hard to know. If it goes more platformy and like, hey, avoid all these spikes, not interested. If it goes more of that puzzle level type of like, hey, you have to think about how you manipulate gravity because there's other things moving at the same time when you change gravity. That seems interesting.
Yeah.
But that's the harder thing to design. But that would be more interesting. Our next one up, we did do a video of, and it is Sky Ninja War. So,
this one is in Japanese and English concurrently. And for every Japanese character, there is an English translation to it, so don't worry about being confused about
well,
that.
I mean, none of the description or title are in Japanese or the cover. It's only really like when you launch the game you realize...
Oh my god, this is in Japanese.
Yeah, it's in Japanese. It's really a side-scrolling shooter.
And it's not a very good one at that, because it doesn't have a level end type deal like a lot of the better ones will have. Like there's there's two, like a finish line that comes down the screen when you get to the end, and it just flashes to the beginning of the scroll.
Now in the trial, we got to the boss fight, so we don't know if
it doesn't get better if it's not that good at the beginning.
Well, I'm not saying it necessarily gets better. We don't know what it's like after that, but it's kind of the style is kind of
well, the reason it's absolutely horrible.
Yeah,
but
it's got this close combat melee.
During the trial, you'll see I was screwing around because out of boredom. You know, out of boredom with the game, I was screwing around. It may get a little bit more interesting, but I don't know.
If there were
our next one up is Papercraft, and is also a side-scrolling shooter, and also kind of suffers from the same.
Yeah.
It's not enough if you're going to make a side-scrolling shooter or top-scrolling shooter, or diagonal-scrolling shooter. Like, it's not enough just to have enemy ships coming at you and you shoot them and you go on. You know, you have to kind of think about it like shoot one up. And you have like, oh, I'm playing all my lives at one time. Like, take that genre and come up with a hook or a gimmick or a twist. If it's just side-scrolling shooting, it's really hard to be interesting, I think.
On the graphics side of that, for that particular game, I think if they had like made an origami paper craft and actually made it look like the folds were actually there rather than just splashing red or green or blue on the particular ones, even if they had splashed red or green or blue on the particular folds so that it looked like a paper folded
like multiple pieces of paper together.
Well, it wouldn't be multiple pieces. I've actually made that particular one. It's a single piece of paper, but it's multiple folds, and it actually does show the white portion of the fold on that particular paper craft. Yeah. If they had done that, where you see the white portions of the folds, then I would be fine with the graphics on that.
So there you go. Cicely is upset because it doesn't look like true origami.
Gameplay-wise...
If you fake origami, you're going to get a pass from Cicely. Add that to the list.
Gameplay-wise, I thought it seemed kind of neat. They were doing multiplayer. The mechanics of the shooter, I liked the feel. The problem is they introduced a lot of different concepts. You know, they have your tech upgrades. There are upgrades you can pay for with tech points. There are upgrades you can pay for the entire fleet with money. There's this map screen, and while we flip through some of the instruction screens pretty quickly, I don't feel like I didn't even see. Like, there were some things I don't even think were covered on instruction screens that you just have to kind of intuitively figure out. And
yeah, it was a little rough. Our next one up, we did do a video of Papercraft. Our next one up, we also did a video, and it is Bumblepig.
Yes.
This one is cute. It's like a bumblebee crossed with a Sioux pig. It's just absolutely cute.
So your Bumblepig goal is to fly over and pollinate flowers. And then
get money.
And then get money.
Get the money so you can get new hats.
Pollinating flowers. So, I mean, pollinating flowers is kind of sex. I mean, it's kind of a sex thing for plants. It's flower sex. and the flowers give you money, which kind of make Bumblepig a whore. I mean, it is what it is, right? Sex for money.
Yes, I guess so.
It is kind of cute, and if you want to see us call Bumblepig a whore without actually saying the word, because we were trying to be clean, check out the trial we'll have coming up next week on that. Our next game up, Apple Orchard Bath. Did you guys dive into?
This is bad. This is bad. This is very bad. I mean, like...
well, if Johnny had 3 apples...
If Johnny had 3 apples, he would kill himself with 2 of them.
And he would throw the third to kill the person standing in front of him.
He would kill the person who made it with the third one, yes.
All right.
Trying to figure out Suicide by Apple. It's an educational game. Like,
that's
if you're a
not an
gamer,
excuse.
There's not an excuse. I've had good educational games.
You
This one
have...
sucks.
I mean, come on. You have, what is it, Typing of the Dead?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's an educational game.
And what's
and
the one?
good.
What's the numbers one with the alienish dudes?
On Xbox Live Indie
Number
Game?
Munchers?
Yes, that one. I like that one too.
I mean, this isn't trying to be anything complex. I'm just saying, like, it may suck for even an educational game, but it's definitely not trying to be like a game so much as educational.
That's not an excuse.
Oh,
No.
okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry. You can make math fun.
Mm-hmm.
Next one up is the Bomber.
This is-
Yeah.
This is a tank shooting down balloons.
As tanks are wont to do.
As
Only you have to
The
avoid
natural-
the
the natural
99
predators
red
to the
loose
fire
balloons.
truck.
You have to avoid the 99 red loose balloons.
well, you have to shoot the balloon and not the box that is carrying, because basically you shoot down ammo and money pickups. I don't know. I didn't get far enough into it to really like it.
If you
but
don't have enough money, you
kinda
can't buy
rough.
ammo. If you don't shoot down enough ammo, then you can't get enough money. It's a circle in upon itself that is basically bullshit.
Our next one up is Nucleon.
This one was confusing. I kind of liked it if I had understood it better.
It's kind of an action. I almost want to say a puzzle game, but kind of an action game. You're an electron, and you're protecting the nucleus of an atom from radiation.
You know what I hated?
What?
That it resets you to the outside every fucking time. No, reset me back to where I was. God damn you.
What happens is you move up, and you go into like a big thick group of these radiation particles, and you hit A, and it does chain lightning, and yeah, like Cicely said, it moves you to someplace else. It's kind of tricky. I don't know. It's different.
I don't like being reset.
Yeah.
That's my biggest gripe with that game. If I wasn't reset, I think I might have tried this game for even longer. But because it kept resetting me, when I died, I was like, yeah, F out.
Yeah, it was annoying, but you also build up charge when you do that.
Care.
And you can basically build up charge, clear the screen, and then start
The only
over. There's
cool
kind of a
moment
method
to
to
that
it.
game was when I did one charge and did an entire circle around me.
Yeah.
That was cool. The
Next
rest
one
of it is
up
crap.
is Bomb Locker. And I think
Minesweeper.
this is a first. I don't know if there's another Xbox Live indie game title where the developer put his face on the cover.
Oh no.
Yes. Bomb Locker, Zamlant Studio. The logo for Zamlant Studio looks like Zam's smiling face is there. I don't know. Maybe he brought in somebody to take a photo of like, hey, I need to take a picture of some guy to be on there.
Stock photography.
But yes, I think that is a first. I don't think that's happened before. For the developer to put their face on the cover of a game.
See, I didn't notice that on the Xbox Live Indie Games service, but maybe you have to be zoomed in a little
And I think that's the only remarkable thing about this game.
Yeah, it's Minesweeper with hex squares instead of actual squares.
But if there's a game we can talk even less about,
Oh no.
Octave Bar Clock.
It's an app. It's a clock.
I'll just give its own description and we'll move on. How about that?
Let's do that.
Unique time-telling method combines sophistication and class with utility. Each bar graph is assigned its own piano octave, and therefore visually and audibly represents time changes. The octave bar clock also serves as a fully functional alarm clock. Because, yes, I fucking sleep next to my Xbox 360 on.
And TV.
And TV. And good God, if you have a classic Xbox, you'd never get to sleep with the noise that thing puts out.
And it would bake you to death.
Yes. And it's a fast way to red ring it. Oh. Next one up, we did do some video of. It is Hedge Wizard.
It's kind of a puzzle game.
It is kind of a different, weird puzzle game.
It's got the time mechanic where you can fast forward or rewind what you've done, basically to correct mistakes, I guess.
Unlike other time manipulation games of the genre, you do not end up being, or do not appear like you're going to end up being the asshole trying to stalk and rape the princess.
No, basically you're this hedge wizard, as the name implies, that has somehow coerced a peasant to go out and get gold for you. So what you have to do is protect the village, get the gold, and get to the tower. And the thing is, you've got rivers that will gradually fill in. You've got forests that are on fire. And then you've got spell scrolls you can pick up to kind of deal with different things. Like there's an earthquake scroll that will remove rocks, and there's a rain scroll that will fill in rivers or create floods. It's an interesting puzzle game. It's a little bit slow-paced for me. I think they assume that you're going to use the time
speed up,
stuff.
yeah,
more.
To kind of get to a playable speed of the game. Although, I mean, some of the stuff moves pretty quickly, and it's kind of like you need to know the square to place things on at the beginning.
Yeah.
To make things work in time.
But the time manipulation allows you to kind of go back and do trial and error semi-painlessly. What? Did someone say something? Okay.
No. Our last game up is Dragon Force, a digital candy title.
This is basically, it's kind of a flight sim. You're a dragon that flies around and has to shoot off these, I guess, wizards or something off of castle towers. It actually looks pretty good. It's 3D rendered. The dragon itself is really well done.
I'm starting to wonder now about this digital candy studio. Fun Factory Entertainment is their actual Xbox Live indie game publisher name, but Digital Candy always shows up. Because we've had 4 of these games now. Dragon Force, Origin X, Zombigeddon, Zombie Attack, that have these somewhat decent 3D looking models in very shitty games.
Like
Yeah.
the dragon.
And I'm starting to wonder if we're not just seeing... I'm not up on Turbo Squid enough to identify, oh, that dragon's a default model with animations in Turbo Squid.
The dragon was very well executed.
The dragon was very well executed,
He
but
had musculature exactly how you would think all the geeks that I used to hang around would have said the musculature would have worked.
but it doesn't fit. The point is, it doesn't fit the gameplay.
No,
like,
it doesn't
somebody who
work
could do
right.
that level of quality on the 3D model.
A lot of the landscape is kind of poor. It's effects heavy. Like there's a whole bunch of blur.
And a dragon would be able to see like a hawk, not like a cataract ridden mongrel that's been hit too many times on the side of the road.
So, yeah, I think my point is that I've seen too many digital candies now, and I'm starting to get a real negative opinion. You know, like I see that come up, and it's like, oh, this isn't going to be any good.
What's funny is I've seen their logo a couple of times before, and I can't tell if I have a good or bad opinion.
I have a good leading to bad opinion.
I felt semi-strongly about one of these guys' games. I just can't remember what it was.
All I know is I see like a dragon, and I'm like, ooh, eye candy, and then it was.
See, the one that I think was kind of more interesting was the Origin X. That was the build defenses on the planets, and then you zoomed out from the planet and you shot things going around.
Okay,
and
now
it
I know
looked
what
like
you mean.
there was a germ of an idea here, but the execution
Not quite there.
is not quite there.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like a Silver Dollar Games, except they have good ideas and don't do them well,
Good idea. Bad
versus
idea.
having shitty ideas and doing them badly.
They need to get together.
And that wraps up our new releases for the week. Oh, before we get out of here, James, what do you want
Yes.
to plug? What's coming next? What's Mad Ninja Skills working on?
Working on the next ezmuze. We are also working on a very special thing called Pig, which is a marketplace for Xbox Live indie games, but for the PC, with 0 code changes.
Wow.
Interesting.
So, you seem to have. So, is this going to be a service to buy them from?
Yeah.
So it sounds like you kind of went ahead and did something like Dylan and I talked about for like 6 months. Because we talked about like, okay, well, if you get the PC site up to where I can send you the CC game, then there's all this great content that Microsoft can't seem to surface, but we know is there, that if we promote properly, you're taking your cut off the top. I mean, you're the house. So, that's going to be awesome. Do you have anything up on that yet? Do you have a site up where people can check out, or is that still early development?
Early development at the moment.
Do you
Okay.
need a logo? I'll do a logo.
I'll take a
logo?
logo.
I think he wants a logo, not a Lolo. Not a...
I believe you knew what I meant, even though I'm drunk.
How many
Drunk
glasses have those of you had?
Then I'm over 24 ounces. But it's
Hand
still
me the box.
it's still less
Let me
than half of
feel
the
this.
box. It's still less than half of the box.
Yeah, but okay, Dylan, read
I
the
don't know
read
how
the
heavy
box.
it is.
Read the box. How much does the box hold?
A crap ton.
5 liters.
5 liters. So half the box is not
Serve
really
chilled
a
or
defense.
don't. Whatever.
Yeah, chill or not or
Just skip the glass, just turn the tap on and put your mouth on it.
yeah.
The
Totally.
last 3 glasses I've had have been more chilled than I remember the thing being.
I mean, your glass is just
I think
straight
you're just
up.
losing feeling in your mouth at this point.
No.
You're just using a straight up glass
Feel the
out of the
glass.
cupboard. You're not even grabbing
It's
like a
actually
wine.
cool.
Oh, that's just okay. That's awesome. So, what was the name of it again, James?
Pig.
Pig.
Pig. Does that stand for something?
PC indie game.
Yeah.
Ah, there you go.
I actually
That's
caught
beautiful.
that from the pig.
All right, that's awesome. Do you have pig.com?
Pigmarket.net, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. I was like, man, hats off. That's dedication. What do you pay for pig.com? What's the going rate on that pork futures? What's happening? Yeah. Oh, what's an indie pig logo look like?
I'm
These are
trying to-
questions that have to be answered.
I know, because I have to think of one that's not barbecue related.
You don't have to. I mean,
No.
Wow. So, that's excellent. Anything else?
I think there's plenty.
Yeah, that definitely is. So, the next version of ezmuze, is that targeted 360, or is it going to be PC at some point? And
Well, we've got second edition, which should be done in about 2 months. That's going to be on the Xbox. And then we've got ezmuze Pro, which is going to be a full sequencer, like not just taking loops. It's going to be create your own loops with piano roll and software synthesis and all that. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that's a Xbox Live Arcade thing.
oh, nice. Good luck on that. That would be pretty awesome.
Thank you.
I don't think. Did you have a Kickstarter?
Yes.
What is that?
That's-
You wanna throw that out there or plug that? Is that still going on?
It is. It's Indiegogo, which is exactly how you think it's spelled, .com/ezmuze.
All right, so we'll get that. We'll get a link on that there. Is that coming along? How much time's left on that Kickstarter?
I have no idea.
I
It's
just
fun.
had a brain fart of a pig in go-go boots.
32 days left on that.
2 days left.
Those two things are
32.
mean related.
Are you close? I don't have it in front of me.
A billion miles away.
A billion miles away. Well, we'll send out the link anyway. And if you've not used Kickstarter before, if you're listening to this and you haven't used Kickstarter, if it doesn't hit the funding goal, you get the money back. So there's no risk to going and throwing it in.
No, that's why we used Indiegogo. We get it anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry.
it's not
Your
Kickstarter.
project is not called Indiegogo. You're on Indiegogo.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So it's not on Kickstarter. It's on Indiegogo, and it's called ezmuze.
They get it regardless.
And you get it regardless. That's actually not bad.
Donate now.
Because I mean, there's some stuff and not necessarily game related, but there's some stuff that's been Kickstarter worthy that we've discussed, or I've discussed offline, and that's just like what do you pick for a dollar value? You want to pick something high enough people know like this is what I need, but you also want to get the money. You don't want to like fall short. So that would be good. All right. All right. So do we have anything from chat before we sign out?
No, everybody stayed on topic.
Everybody stayed on topic? That's a disappointment. And John was in the thread?
Hugs and kisses.
You know what? I'm gonna end this on something that's gonna highly irritate John. I probably shouldn't say this, but the Voltron up there.
Whoa.
So he is the Voltron from my youth. That is my actual Voltron I had as a kid, the Lion Voltron. I know John has the vehicle Voltron. And when my parents kind of like, hey, we got all these old toys because they moved houses, and they were like, we got this toy, do you want to go through it? And I found it. My initial thought was, I should give that to John. John would really dig that. Like, this is the old Voltron. He's got the car one. He kind of collects that. But then
See the sticker?
I put there's stickers on him from when he was attempted to be sold in a yard sale. But then I put him together and I set him up there, and then I was kind of like, fuck John. Why would I give that to John? He's awesome. This is where he belongs. I don't know what the hell I was thinking.
You don't give away Voltron.
You don't give away Voltron. So sorry, John. He at one point was going to be yours, but he's going to stay here now.
But you totally want to do like pictures of him fighting with the vehicle.
I do want to do like photograph sequence, and then maybe we'll do like some bad photo art game and load it up on. No, we can't do that.
No, that would be highly illegal.
That would be highly illegal. Yeah, it would. It would have to be web only. If we did something like that of those fighting, which I'm not going to do. You know what? Honestly, I'm not going to do it anyway. I got too much shit to do to screw around with like Voltron on Voltron combat.
Voltron on Voltron, eh? I think that's a different market you've got there.
Well, I think it's a rich market.
I think that's the title of this week's episode.
The car fans versus the Lion fans. I think you got some market there. So
I think the Lion fans win.
Everybody that's out there watching, thank you for watching the show. Everybody for listening, thank you for listening. And let's do this again in a week.